Hey everyone, David here. I literally just got finished loading up the last video of working on the HO Gilbert steam engine, and it is a miserable rainy weekend. So what else are you going to do besides work on trains? So I got this Lionel 2026 that I bought at the last train show. So let's take this apart and get it to work. Maybe I'll do a quick test here. Okay, if you buy one of these, one of the things to look for is make sure that the wheels turn, or at least, that's a good starting point to see what kind of shape it's in. So that should move freely even without power to it. So we'll set the transformer here, give it some power, and you want to hold these upright when you do it. Okay, so I'm not getting anything. You want to hold these upright. There's an E unit or a reversing unit in here. It's actually up in here, and there's a relay in there, and it kind of uses gravity to come down, and then you click the relay and it pulls up. Every time you put power to it, it clicks the relay to reverse the direction. So let's just take this apart and start from scratch on it. Get this out of the way. Now some of these Lionels would have a screw in the one end that you screw into from the bottom up, and then some of them have a screw on the top like this one here. See, there's a screw right there. And the ones with the screw on the top usually have a pin in the side of it. Right here is a pin. So we want to set that on some styrofoam there or something. And get yourself a punch and a hammer. And that is cooperating with us. Pretty well for a 60 or 70-year-old locomotive. And we take the screw out of the top. Okay, so we need to take this linkage apart here. I know what I'm doing and I know how this fits back together, so I'm not real careful about what I'm doing. In other words, I've already taken several of these apart, so I know how it goes back together. But if you haven't, it's a good idea to take some pictures so you can put it back together. I want to note on here, if you're taking one of these apart, all these screws here should be slotted screws, not Phillips. So if you buy a train and you see that there's Phillips screws in there or something, then you know that somebody took this apart at some time. Okay, so we'll take this apart. And what I did notice on this after I bought it is it's missing the front wheel set. So hopefully I could find that at another train show. Okay, that's what's called a shoulder screw. It's almost like a washer or spacer there. That's so you can't screw it down all the way. Okay, so we've got to take this apart in order to get that smoke unit out of there. And these screws here look like they're not the originals. They should be black. Okay, so basically there's your engine and a smoke unit that is looking kind of rough. It still might be okay. We don't want to mess with it here. Yeah, it looks like somebody did some work on this here. Okay, so underneath here are the brushes. So we're going to take that off. Okay, 2 screws here. Take that off. Man, that's stuck on there pretty good. We do have some good brushes here. We'll clean those later. You can see how this commutator is pretty dirty there. Let's get the rest of this apart.
Okay.
We'll take this off also. That's just the holds the other side of the commutator in. Again, I've taken several of these apart before. This is probably like my 4th or 5th Lionel, so I know how these go back together. You know what? I'm going to take this smoke unit off of here. There's just 1 screw right there because obviously I'm going to have to fix this wiring anyhow. Oh, okay, that all comes apart like that. Okay, set that aside. So this is our E unit right here. It's called an E unit because it was designated in the parts list. It started with the letter E, but this is what controls the direction, reverse direction. I will probably take that apart. You know what? I'm going to be a little bit careful with this. There we go. Okay, this is our E unit here, and what happens is this relay pulls down like that and turns this here, and you see there's contacts on there. So at this point, you know what we have to do. Take it to the sink and clean it out. I'm going to use this acid brush here to get in the corners. Okay, this is where you see all the dirt comes out. Be sure to use hot water. Okay, so I lost most of the numbering on here, and this paint really is in pretty bad shape. So I've decided I'm going to sandblast this and paint it, and then figure out how I can replace these numbers on here. So on this, actually there's still a little bit of dirt down inside there, so I'm going to clean this again. And then what I'm going to do is take it out in the garage, and I have an air compressor so I can blow all the dirt and air out of there with that before I do anything more with this. So I scrubbed this a little bit more in the sink to get out some of the dirt that was in these wheels here, and there was a little bit more dirt down inside here, and I used that acid brush to clean that out really good. And then I took it out to the garage and I blasted it with the air compressor. You've got to be careful when you do that, like hold on to the rest of these parts while you do that, because you don't want too much pressure on your reversing unit and your wiring there. So just be a little bit careful with that and get all the dirt out of it. So I'm not going to do anything as far as putting this together until I'm sure it's dry. I can still clean the commutator here, and I can clean the wheels, and I can clean this reversing unit in the meantime, but I'm not going to put it together or test it until at least tomorrow to make sure that this is good and dry, because you don't want to test it with any moisture in here. So while that dries, I'm going to sandblast this.